of performance. We are funded, the Veterans Workforce Program is funded through the Job for Service grant through the federal government. And every year we're able to take about 8% or 0.8% of that federal grant and recognize veterans that go above and beyond in our veterans program. The Veterans Workforce Program is comprised of two main components. We have the DVOP program, Disabled Veterans Outreach Program, and then we have the Local Veterans Employment Representative Program. And they work really hand in hand. The main goal of the program is to work with veterans with significant barriers to employment to get them sustainable and gainful employment. So it's not just a job, not just to get them a job, it's actually to get a sustainable job to help them on, and a career pathway. Specifically in the DVOP program, their scope of work is to get that veteran job ready. And when we're dealing with veterans with significant barriers to employment, we know that in order for them to be sustainable in their employment, they have to get the barriers addressed. So our DVOPs are really more than just a job coach. Primarily the veterans that they work with are homeless veterans, veterans that have PTSD issues that came out of my area of veterans, veterans that are disconnected to the community, veterans that maybe lost their jobs and maybe lost their homes. The DVOP program is working veterans with those huge significant barriers to employment. Not only are they a job coach, but they also are a resource navigator. And it's not only just giving them a paper saying, hey, go see this guy, or go here. They really do excel at going the extra mile, actually walking that veteran over to that organization, or giving that veteran a ride in their own vehicles. Because we have certain federal regulations where we can't, take people, but they'll go that extra mile, or going out to wherever that veteran's at and bringing them the services to him. That's a huge critical component of their success in this program. It is really connecting those veterans with the services and benefits that are allotted to in the community. Not only being a resource navigator, but also working with the veterans to be like a comrade. All of our veteran staff are veterans. A lot of them are retired military. So when you look at veteran suicide rates across the nation, we're on the uptick. But in Arizona specifically, we did a survey. We surveyed about 40,000 veterans across the state, and out of that survey, 40% of them contemplated suicide. We look at the main components of veteran suicide. It's because they're disconnected to the community. They lost their job. They don't know any benefits that's entitled to them. Their family situation might be bad due to financial reasons. And what these DVOPs do, we may never see the number, but I know they save lives. I could sit up here and tell you countless stories of homeless veterans that are on the streets that our DVOPs have worked with, and it may even take a year to get them employed, but over time, getting them in housing, just getting them sustainable in the fact that that's our outcome is employment. But one thing that we don't really track in numbers is how many people they just even helped getting connected to the services. Even if we have a scope of employment, we're still going to help any veteran that we meet on the streets, any homeless veteran. We're going to connect them to those services that they're entitled to. So, not only being a peer support mentor, being a comrade, resource navigating. In the end, our success is getting them a job and getting sustainable employment. And our DVOP staff here in Southeast Arizona do that through the roof. Not only working with the veterans during their normal business hours, but they work with veterans on the weekends. They volunteer their time in community organizations. If they know that they're going to see the veteran on the Sunday, they'll drive out to wherever that veteran is and get them connected to services. So without further being said, our DVOPs in this area absolutely excel their performance, not only when it comes to the performance that we track of how many veterans they serve and get placed, but the extra stuff that they do to serve their veterans. So our first award recipients are going to come out of our DVOP program. So our first award recipient from our DVOP, Disabled Veterans Outreach Program, is Veterans Workforce Specialist, Veterans Workforce Specialist, Johnny Carrillos.
Woo!
Thank you, John. Our next award recipient of the DVOP program is going to be Mr. Kevin McFadden. So the other component of our Veterans Workforce Program, so our DVOPs, they help get the veteran job ready and address the significant barriers to employment. Our second component is our local Veterans Employment Representative, and it's another critical component. once the veterans get job ready, the leaver, Veterans Employment Representative, helps match that veteran with sustainable and gainful employment. You know, you know, a lot of these veterans may need that special avocation because a lot of these veterans have disabilities that may need a special accommodations, and you know that leaver really goes and talks personally to those employers and say, hey, I got this guy, he's going to be great for you. Give him a chance. He might need a couple things here, but give him a chance to get him working. Without that specific employment avocation, you know, some of these veterans probably would never get work. And you know, we just need to get that veteran in the door with the employer. So we know the veterans will excel at their employment, but a lot of times that the veterans are nervous and they may think their disability is a significant barrier to them being successful in their employment. And we hear the word disabled a lot in our program, but none of our veterans are disabled. They're very able. They may need some special little accommodations here and there, but they are more than able to work on. And our leader in this program down in Southeast Arizona, it's really an example of what we want to model across the state. The way that he job matches veterans specifically, his relationship with our defense contractors in Fort Huachuca, and you know, and not only that, but going that extra mile. When I talk about the extra mile, is like, you know, going to find those homeless veterans out in those outlying areas, going in his own vehicle to pick them up, bringing them supplies, bringing them food. You know, he really does, along with our DBOPs, go that extra mile, and that's not really in his scope of work to help with the barriers and get them off the streets. But you know, that passion is what we see in this veterans program, and you know, we've always hired for passion because you can teach everything else we do, but you can't teach passion, and this veteran workforce staff really have that passion. So without further being said, our award for our leader is Mr. Brad Harden. All right, so our last award recipient we're very excited about. So every year we can allot a very, very small percentage of the awards to non-veteran staff that really go the extra mile to serve our veterans across the community. The nomination process are nominated by our local Veterans Employment Representative. So Brad made the nomination this year. And we had a lot of steep competition. We had a lot of nominations across the state, and we ended up allowing about 5 award recipients across the state. And you know, when we were looking at the award packets, there were so many people that excelled, and I wish we could really award all of them, but you know, we really had to prioritize it to the people that really just go that, not even the extra mile, the extra mile. So you know, this year's award recipient in our non-veteran staff, she was a co-founder of Cochise County Serving Veterans. You know, a really grassroots campaign that really served the veterans of the community. You know, she was also the vice co-chair throughout the program, and you know, the Cochise County Serving Veterans, I was able to attend the last event. They served about 100+ veterans. You know, over $100,000 of in-kind contributions, and you know, to start something from nothing, from scratch, to be there 5 years later is truly amazing. You know, that alone is enough to win the award over all the recipients in the state that submitted. But not only, you know, going the extra mile with the veterans, Cochise County Serving Veterans, and really serving those veterans in the community, and keeping the whole forefront of veterans on her mind always, and you know, countless hours of donating her time to these community organizations. You know, that's a huge component right there, just, you know, serving our veterans and going the extra mile. But the other component, as she serves as a business outreach specialist in Southeast Arizona, is, you know, the way that her and Brad work together to advocate for veterans employment is really another model we want to use across the state with our partners, and how they work hand in hand together. Because we know when you're talking to employers, some employers prefer talking to a specific person, someone they built a relationship with. And her always, if Brad, you know, has an employer that she knows and said, hey, we have a veteran here, she'll advocate for that veteran's employment just like Brad would if he had a meeting with that employer. So, you know, not only keeping that scope of veterans work in her program, and you know, countless hours of donating her time and coming up with organizations to serve veterans, and you know, just continue going the extra mile. We are very excited for our next award recipient, Ms. Angelica Hernandez. Well, thank you guys. Thank you for allowing me to present these awards. We're really truly proud of all the awards recipients and our supportive business service staff that, you know, go the extra mile. But all our partners here keep the scope of veterans